Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. It's episode 173, and today we're entitling this episode "Updates and Goodbyes." And that may sound a little scary to you. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. But a certain piece of Nintendo hardware might be going somewhere pretty soon, or maybe already is in the works. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. As far as introductions, my name is Steve, and I am so glad to talk to you guys tonight about Nintendo. But it's not just me. I'm also joined by Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey Steve, glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And Greg will be joining us a little later in the podcast, so we'll be sure to kind of bring him in. He had some personal stuff that he had to take care of before he joined us tonight. But it'd be cool just to chat with you, Barry, and until Greg gets here.
No, it's always a pleasure. Look forward to it every week.
For sure. And we're also grateful that you are here. And a lot of you are in the chat room every week and chatting with us during the live broadcast that we do every other Monday night. If you've never joined us in the live chat, you've never joined us for a live show, be sure to do that. You can check us out on NintendoFuse.com, youtube.com/NintendoFuse. You can also check us out on NintendoFuse.com as well. We have all the links there to follow us there. And if you are joining us tonight, thanks for jumping in the chat and joining in the conversation. We love hearing your thoughts about everything that we talk about. But make sure that you're also joining us on social media throughout the week. We love carry on the conversation throughout the week. So find us on YouTube, but also find us on Twitter and find us on Instagram and Facebook. We have a Facebook group, and we also have a Discord now. We've had it for a little while. It was kind of like underground and everything, but we're now starting to let you guys know about that and everything. So follow us on social media. You'll see our links to our Discord channel there and so much more. And we would love to have you guys join in the conversation about what you're playing, what you're enjoying, and what this Nintendo news apart from our podcast. But yeah, thanks again for joining us tonight. So before we get into any of the conversations, our reviews and reactions to what's been going on lately and talk about the news discussion and everything, let's talk about, as we do normally, what we've been playing. So apart from the stuff that we're going to dive in a little deeper, Barry, have you been playing anything else lately?
Yeah, obviously I'm not going to talk about the things we will be talking about, but obviously I did play that. Yeah, on the phone, I'm still doing Pokemon Go, although I'm getting close to getting tired of it. I'm still doing Dragalia Lost as actually a Fire Emblem crossover event right now, which is perfect for Greg, and of course he's not playing it. But that's a lot of fun. They just added a whole bunch of new modes. They did a whole bunch of reworkings in the game. Like for a free game, they did a whole bunch of giveaways. They did Twitter competitions. They reworked the whole system. Like, people complained, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna rework the whole system, and we're gonna retroactively reward you if you previously got stuff that are now we changed the values." And it was like, holy crap! Like, that's so nice. They're actually doing retroactive stuff. So I'm really happy with Dragalia. I'm not happy with my luck right now in the summons. I'm having absolutely terrible luck, but that's RNG for you. I'm also I had some time to play on the Switch, so no time doesn't apply this time. I actually did have some time, and I sat down with Reverie, which is a Zelda Link to the Past style game with Star Tropics vibes. It was fairly quick. I think it took me 5 hours to beat. A lot of fun. So I got to do that, and other than that, I've been busy in Final Fantasy 14. Shadowbreakers is so close now, and just trying to finish up some stuff and work with my group on things, and hang out there. So that's about it in terms of gaming. I also happen to go see a little movie this past weekend called Avengers Endgame. Some people might have heard of it. So that and the hype around that certainly took a lot of my time too.
That's true. I was thinking we'd probably get into a little bit of Avengers Endgame talk tonight. It's not, of course, not an Avengers podcast by any means. But yeah, there's a little game called Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 coming out. So it kind of ties in. Of course, it's Marvel. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But Yeah, such a great movie. For those listening, those watching that haven't seen it yet, we won't dive into any spoilers. Don't worry about that or anything. You don't have to tune out or anything. But yeah, a quick review. I loved it. It was definitely a great movie. Did you agree?
Absolutely. It's one of those that I think just going into it, if you've only seen like an Infinity War or something, you'll enjoy it. But if you've seen all 21 movies prior to, you will enjoy it that much more. Like it is a total love letter to fans, and I don't know. I'd probably give it a 9.5 only because like I wanted more, and they already gave so much, but like I had hopes that they would do a little bit more, and I know that's being totally greedy and unrealistic, and that's fine. But yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait till it comes out to watch it again.
Nice. Yeah, I think I actually might go see it again tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm flying out. I'm being in Atlanta this week. Yeah, doing some different things. But before all the stuff that I need to do this week gets started, I'll be meeting up with a couple friends, and they're like, "Hey, does everyone want to go see Endgame again?" I'm like, yeah, I'd totally see it again. I'd see it 5 times in 1 week if I could. Except for I just don't have that kind of money. But I'll at least watch it twice for sure. But yeah, like you said, that movie could have gone on for like 10 hours and I still wouldn't have been pleased enough. Like I would have wanted more. So, but anyway, we don't want to talk about just Avengers tonight. Yeah. So what did I play? I played a lot more Rocket League. Rocket Pass 3 is out right now. So I've been playing a lot more Rocket League, and they changed up the way they do the Rocket Pass this time. So not only do you advance based on your XP and everything in the game and your level, but you can also do they have like challenges each time as well, and so that kind of add to it. And so there's different ways to level up within the Rocket Pass this time, and some pretty cool stuff to earn. This might actually be I haven't bought the premium version of it yet, but this might be one of the times that I do spring for premium, because there's some pretty cool rewards in that version of it. So yeah, Rocket League is always a game that I play a lot. It's actually funny now that you can reorder your games like on the See All thing and the Switch with the last update. Rocket League is very much at the top of my list. And it came in handy for looking up these other games we're going to be talking about soon, because it was easy to find them because they were also at the top of the list. But what else did I play? I also played Hob, the definitive edition. So that was a game I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I actually did record. I didn't stream it, but I did capture my first, like, I think 40 minutes or an hour or something like that with the game that I'm going to actually put up on the channel, maybe even later this week. And I kind of try to talk through my experience with it, so you can kind of get first impressions while I'm playing it. Yeah, it's a fun game. It doesn't tell you a whole lot, and so you're kind of learning as you go. And sometimes I was lost, and sometimes I was confused at what to do. But overall, it's an interesting. It's an interesting take on a kind of fantastical sort of platformer adventure. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm yet at a place where I can recommend it or not recommend it yet. I need to play some more, but it's definitely worth, I think, looking into as of right now, for sure. Jakester looks like he's been playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, and yeah, talking about that a little bit. He wants to play Dragalia, but started playing Fate Grand Order instead. But yeah, I've not played that game either, so I don't know much about that one. But yeah, if you're joining us in the chat, be sure to let us know what you've been playing. Let's jump into some reactions and a bit of review sort of thing. So last podcast, we talked a lot about virtual reality and Labo VR. They had their cardboard version of virtual reality for the Nintendo Switch, and we talked about the basic, the games that come with the set itself. But since then, we've actually gotten the 2 updates to both Super Mario Odyssey, and Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and they both brought upon us the VR, ways to play the game. And so Did you get a chance to check out both of those yet, Barry? Oh, I think you're muted.
Yep, yeah, I did. I got a chance to play those. Two of the things I was doing. I did Mario Odyssey first, and as I played it, I realized that go make sure you're seated. So I was sitting on my couch, just relaxed and back, and I realized I needed to be in a swivel chair for this. And the more I wanted to look around, it became harder to do because it's like a 3D, like you're in the center of like this 3D arena, and with the quality of the screen, which I did clean by the way, so it is clean, but just things were blurry. Things were hard to make out on the screen in the 3D, and objects were not totally crystal clear, and it started giving me a headache. So I did like a couple instruments, and I was like, well, I did notice that it says you could play on TV. Oh, this is cool. Okay, let's do this. And it wouldn't let me. It was only non-VR mode. So I did it non-VR mode and handheld, and it was the same thing. So now it was gyro camera, and I can't do gyro camera. It's one of the reasons, like with Splatoon, I had to turn it off because it actually triggers my vertigo. Just the actual moving, like I just wanted to use my analog stick. So I'm like, can I just play this mode in analog stick? And it wouldn't let me. So I really couldn't do more. And I think that's a little bit of an oversight. They should just allow you to use the analog stick like the rest of the game to the camera as an option. So I'm gated out of seeing that content, which kind of annoyed me because I wanted to see it, but I'm gated out of it. I did a little Zelda 2, which obviously
let's talk about Mario first,
sure,
because my experience with them were very different. And so let's hold off Zelda just for a second, because I actually I did experience something very similar to you with the swivel chair thing, and I was glad I was actually playing in this chair, and I had to move my other table and my desk and everything away because I was like, I need free range movement for this game to be able to like spin around. And actually I really enjoyed being able to do that and move around. But I also did notice that some of the stuff was also a little blurry. You had to zoom in to be able to even see some of the stuff in the distance, which I thought was weird, that you'd have to zoom in and it's almost like there was like trickery of being able to hold down both your shoulder button and your trigger button to be able to zoom in and also hit the ground pound at the same time. And I actually wasn't used to playing like, because I always wondered, I thought it was gonna be able to like just moving Mario around with a Joy-Con and jumping and that's it. But you actually had to play with the Joy-Cons attached, and that was kind of weird. But I did feel like, I mean, this is a version that was made for it. I felt it was better designed overall than Zelda. We'll get into a second, but in a way, I didn't have a whole lot of fun with it. But I feel like it was a mode made for VR. But like you said, it would have. I didn't even notice that that some of those other things weren't included, because that is kind of unfortunate that you can't move around with the analog stick. I don't know how they overlooked that.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely was made for VR. And it is a neat little tech demo type thing. And if we do get a Switch Pro down the road and the quality of the screen is better, and looking through those things that are blurry are now crystal clear, and I have to squint to see or zoom in to see, I think those things would help. But I also think just allowing you to play that mode on TV with the analog stick, obviously it takes away from the whole VR experience, and I totally get that. But if you're going to have the option to not play it in VR anyway, why don't you just have the option to allow you to play with the standard controls that the rest of the game follows?
Yeah. What I didn't, the overall thing is, I guess I like being able to, I actually played through it. I didn't get sick or headache or anything like that, but it wasn't that fun to me. Like, and so even like, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think you're really missing out on a whole lot in not being able to play it. The main game is like 10 times better than this little mode. It really is, like you said, a tech demo. I think more than anything else, it's showing how it could work, but it's not that fun. What I actually enjoyed was being able to watch some of the videos, like in the theater mode. They showed the opening or the closing, cinematic screen or showing and everything, and that was that was kind of cool. And actually, that's what I've found that I think I enjoy more than anything else is I enjoy taking in content in VR. I enjoy like watching something because it feels like you're watching this gigantic screen. On the Switch, it's not that clear and the resolution's not that great, but it's kind of cool to just take it in and be able to see, like, almost have this gigantic theater kind of mode right in front of your face. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't think you're really missing out much. It's not that fun. But all right, so that's Super Mario Odyssey. Let's talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild. So feel free to go ahead and jump in. What was your experience with Zelda Breath of the Wild like? Oh, I think you're muted again.
I brought myself over to the Great Plateau because I figured this is going to be a nice starting point. This is going to be where I can look around and I could see what it looks like in 3D. So I got there, I turned on VR mode, and at first I was like, this is kind of cool. And then I decided to move my head, and that was kind of a mistake because when you move your head, the game counts it as the camera swiveling completely. So instead of just like looking just to the left or something, the whole camera swings to the left around Link, and it does, like, it's very jarring because you're sitting down, you're not moving, but by turning the camera itself literally rotates like on an axis, and that was very jarring to me. My wife tried it as well, and she had something very similar. Looking around made her a little dizzy. But then I realized, unlike Mario Odyssey, you can use the analog stick for camera. So I was like, okay, this at least is better. So if I keep my head straight and I use the analog stick, then it's cool. It's kind of like playing on like the 3DS with the 3D slider on. And I ran around and killed some things, helped some villagers, and I'm like, this is at least a little bit better. But the headache started to come from straining the eyes, A, and B, again, the screen quality is just not that great, and things were blurry and things were, harder to see, and I'm used to playing that on the big screen where everything looks beautiful. So I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. This is a neat little tech demo kind of deal. I'm probably never going to do this again. And I promptly turned off VR mode, and that was my experience.
Nice. Well, you lasted longer than I did, because I think I made it about 10 seconds before I was about to puke. It was very jarring. And I tried, like I said, Mario, and I was like, oh, it works pretty well because it's a stationary camera. But man, when it gets starting to move, and all of a sudden I swung around behind him, and then I moved my head up and down, and then it moves the camera. I moved around a little bit trying to get out of the way of a guardian, and I was just toast. I was like, oh, I've got to turn this off right away. And that's when I encountered. Well, I encountered beforehand, but I re-encountered the I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like Nintendo just really missed the boat entirely with this Zelda VR thing, because the menu structure is almost unreadable in VR. And if you don't know where things are already, you don't know your buttons and stuff to how to get around, you can't really read them. And the HUD is just messed up, and the words on the menus are like stretched to the side because that looks cool on a big screen, but it doesn't look cool in VR. So it's not made for that at all. And they just did it halfway. And I was really surprised because normally Nintendo doesn't do that sort of thing. They put their top quality stuff, especially on their top IP. But this just feels like they just like shoved it out the door and go, oh, look, we did Zelda VR. Yay, hope you enjoy. But yeah, I did not have a good experience with it at all. And like I said, it about made me puke in about 10 seconds. So I don't know, like, was it easy to keep your head steady? I mean, maybe that's my trick. I just needed not move at all.
It wasn't too bad, because again, I was focused on the camera moving with the analog stick. Had I moved my head, it would have moved the camera as well, which would have been weird. And again, it was kind of like popping in a 3DS game when you first get it, and you put that 3D slider up, and you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then after a few minutes, you're like, all right, this is starting to hurt my eyes. And you turn the 3D slider all the way down. You're like, okay, now I can play this game comfortably and enjoy. And that's kind of how I felt. It was like, this is neat. Now I want to turn this off, take it out of the Labo VR, and put it right in the dock and continue playing on the TV, where it's better screen quality and more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't actually played very much with the Joy-Cons attached or anything either. And so that was kind of hard to get used to. I prefer playing with the Pro Controller. And I think that too, like that just is not going to last very long when you have your, like, even if you are able to keep your head steady and experience that, that's just going to get old really quick. And I can't imagine anybody playing the entire game like that.
Well, that's interesting too, because when the Switch first came out, obviously Breath of the Wild was the first thing I played, and I played it first in handheld, just setting things up, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And when I went to the screen or the TV, I really never looked back. Like, one other time I was upstairs, like I was in the middle of a dungeon or a shrine, and I was like, oh, you know what? I want to continue this before I go to bed. I took it upstairs. And just playing in handheld there regularly, it actually, again, triggered my vertigo. Like, just the constant up, down, like looking around in 3D and a small screen, it actually was starting to get to me. I was like, okay, whoa, I got to pause this. And especially because I was dealing with a puzzle, which was getting frustrating as well. So I was trying to do that and go back and forth. Like, it was just a mess. So I'm like, okay, I tried it on the TV and I was fine. So I'm like, I really shouldn't play this game portably. Like 3D games portably don't do as well for me as 2D games portably. So of course this is now Zelda portable with now the 3D effect. So it was not a match made in heaven for me, but I got to experience it a little bit and see a little bit, and it was impressive. I just, it's an afterthought. It really is. It's just we tacked this on to help sell Labo.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll see some game that actually is created with that in mind eventually. I mean, you mentioned like the 3D effect on Ocarina of Time 3D. Games like that, it's kind of cool, but it's not really made for it. But then you did have some other games with I'm blanking on the name of it now. Wow.
3D Land?
Yeah. Like that it really just was made for it, and it was cool. I mean, you could definitely play it without it, but it was made with that in mind, and it kind of added to that experience. And I feel like that's kind of the difference between even how they approach Super Mario Odyssey with the Labo VR versus Zelda. One was made for it, one was just tacked on later, and one is a better experience than the other. I didn't really enjoy the Mario Odyssey VR like a whole lot, but I enjoyed it a lot more than Zelda because I could actually play it versus just wanting to throw up the whole time. All right, so that wasn't all the updates we got. We also got an update to Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Do you want to hold off on that for a second, because there were two other games that I did do updates,
and we can hold off and see if Greg is able to join us for it. So what were the other two updates?
There was a Mario Tennis Aces update that actually added the ring mode that they had previously done just in like timed events. They actually added that to the game as well as new characters. So I was like, all right, let me check that out. And it's exactly that. There's nothing to strive for. It's just like, here's this mode we added in a while back, only for a limited time. Now you can play it whenever you want. And it was kind of interesting because that game needs so much new content, and they keep adding characters, but it needs more content, and it's just kind of like felt tagged on. So I don't know. I think you played since the launch demo.
No, I actually downloaded because they did another demo over the weekend, and I downloaded it, and I planned on playing it, and then I never started it. It was one of those games. I kind of got burnt on the Wii U version. Yeah. And I decided it's like, I'm not gonna get Aces this time around. And it seems like, I mean, there is more content than the Wii U version, but it seems like there's not enough content just yet.
The other big game that got a major update was Starlink Battle for Atlas, which I think that went live today. So I downloaded that. And what's interesting about that is it's a free update, but then the Star Fox stuff is actually pay. So I was like, I was a little annoyed about that, but I'm like, let me do the free update first and see what this is like. Because the free update adds a whole new planet called the Crimson Moon. It has like bounties you could do and races you can do and a bunch of other content. I'm like, all right, this is really cool. So I boot up my game. I boot up my save file, my completed save file. Here's the chat, like, oh yeah, this Crimson Moon appeared, blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, let me go to it. And I noticed there was a dreadnought. I'm like, what the hell? I beat this game. I cleared every planet, but now there was a dreadnought. So I'm like, I guess I got to go kill the dreadnought. So I kill the dreadnought, but it launches one of the walkers onto a planet. So now I have to go back to a planet I've completed. I've killed all the 3 towers that it now built, killed the dreadnought, and or the walker. I'm like, all right, that's it. Now I'm going to the Crimson Moon. So I am en route to the Crimson Moon, checking my map, and I notice another dreadnought is going to appear in 3 minutes. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I just want to play this new content. So I say, screw it. I'm going to go to Crimson Moon. I go there. I start seeing the storyline. And I decided, let me try the races. So I'm doing the race, which, first off, the control's really weird. Like, drifting in that game is really weird and harder than it should be to pull off. The races themselves are actually not that fun, at least the one I did. I won it, but it wasn't really that fun. And I was, like, hoping for some kind of, like, F-Zero style, and it was not that fun. But in one race, keep in mind 3 laps, not 1 but 2 walkers were sent down by that dreadnought on 2 different planets. So I'm like, mid race, I'm getting these notifications, and I'm like, all I want to do is this new content. You just gave us this content. I want to experience this content, and now it's like, this is a chore. Can I turn this off? I've beaten the game. I don't need to keep fighting these things. I know it's supposed to be like a real world and a perpetual world kind of deal, but I don't care. I really don't care. But now all my progress on all these planets is slowly being wiped out because I want to experience the races. And I looked it up, and apparently sometimes it could take hours in between, and sometimes is every 3 minutes is another one. And I'm like, this is terrible design. Like, I just want to turn this off. So because of that, because now I know like my progress is going to be wiped on these planets, it's a chore to go back and do these because I got to fly across the galaxy to do it. And the racing wasn't that fun. I actually turned it off. I'm like, you know what? I don't care about the rest of the races. And as much as I want to see that Star Fox content, since it's not free, I don't want to give them my money right now because they're taking away stuff I've already earned in game by sending these stupid dreadnoughts after me.
Wow. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I hadn't heard about that yet, and I actually forgot about the update. I know we had heard that it was coming a while back, but I totally forgot. That's really unfortunate because I was looking forward to experiencing that as well.
Did you beat the game?
I have not yet. I'm pretty close. But
if you did not beat the game, I don't think this occurs.
Okay.
Which is really stupid. You would think it would occur with the bad guy still alive, not when the bad guy's dead.
Right. That makes a lot more sense. And and especially like this kind of content is, I mean, really it's designed for those people. I mean, it's designed for everybody, but for people that have already beaten the game, you'd think. So you can add more content to enjoy the game even more beyond your initial playthrough.
And I understand what they were doing with the procedural world and constantly a threat, even though you killed the bad guy already. And I get that. And I get trying to make it seem like it's real life and you got to prioritize. But when you can't, like I literally took 45 minutes to kill this one dreadnought and clear out this planet and find everything, because nothing's labeled in your map. You have to find it all just to get to the content that you gave me for free that I want to try. And even then I had to make a decision. Do I turn back around and fight this other dreadnought or say, screw it? And it's just, there should be an option to turn that off. Like, I get it. You beat the game. You want residual content. You want to add more content. This is a way to continuously grind to level up all the ships and stuff. Like, that's cool. Fine, whatever. But allow us to turn it off. That's like that, so we can enjoy the other stuff. Like, even now, like, do you want to just fly around the galaxy and see what it's like? Well, guess what? You can't, because you might fly onto a planet where you can no longer fly because there's towers and villains all over the place because you didn't stop them in time. And it's like, that takes away the fun. And I know they added like another pack with more pilots and ships. And of course, none of this is physical because they've killed the toys. Although I found it funny that one of the characters that they added was Startail, which was the European exclusive figure that I had to import, and I did an unboxing on NintendoFuse. So that character is now officially in the American game, but only digital. They didn't even release that figure over here, even though it exists.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm really surprised. I mean, maybe at some point they will. I mean, it's unfortunate that they don't have it yet, but it'd be cool to have like an ultimate just sandbox kind of mode where you're just able to just fly around and not have to worry about all that stuff, because it's a really cool world to go in and around and explore. But it's unfortunate you always have to worry. I mean, like you said, I mean, you want it to be kind of real world like, and yeah, there's always this imminent threat, but it'd also be really nice just to fly around and have fun too. So
Yeah,
why not have a second mode that doesn't affect your main progress? That's just, hey, once you beat the main game, now you get to enjoy this other thing that's not attached to your main profile, and you just get this other mode that allows you to fly around everywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, especially because they tout it like, come back to the game, come back to the game. Here's new content. That's the whole point of releasing. Oh, it's Starlink was what, October? So like it's now the end of April. So you're talking 4 or 6 months. 6 months. 6 months later, if you release new DLC, it's to get people to come back to your game. You don't want people to come back to your game and instantly get frustrated because now there's a chore to do. You want them to come back to the game and go, hey, great. You know, like there's new content to play. And like I said, when you do the races, there's like different tracks, and there's like there's actually a progression system. There's different leagues you can be in, and like they want you to really like spend time there. And I'm like, this is really cool, but why are you throwing these ships at me that I now have to leave doing the races to go do? That's not fun anymore. Like, don't give me Mario Kart and say, do you want to keep playing Mario Kart? Well, in between races, you got to go clear off an entire level of Mario 64. But you can't just boot up that level. You got to run through every world of Mario Sunshine first before you get there, and then run back through Mario Sunshine just to get back to the Mario Kart court. But by the time you get back to the cart, you have to go do another Mario 64 level. And it's like, that's not fun. I just want to play Mario Kart. And that's kind of what it is. It's just poorly designed.
Oh, that's really unfortunate. Well, thanks for saving me and some other people some money.
Well, that's a free update. Yeah. That's a free update,
right?
But the Star Fox,
like the Star Fox stuff, yeah.
There's like, I want to play that. I want to see it. Like, it looks good, but you know, it's like it's $12 or something. And right now, I don't feel like giving them $12 when I know in order to do that Star Fox content, I'm also going to have to deal with dreadnoughts being launched at me by an enemy that's dead.
Right. That's really unfortunate. But Jakester has been asking about the game in the chat as a whole. Like, we really enjoy the game, like, for sure. We had an entire podcast that was mostly dedicated to this game, and it was like just a few months ago, and we really enjoyed it, and we do highly recommend it. It's just unfortunate that they didn't seem to do this DLC very, very well. But who knows? Maybe they'll update it. I don't know. I mean, is it an outpouring about this?
We looked at it, and they were on like the official Ubisoft forums. They were talking about this back in December. People were irate about it. People were upset about it. That was back in December. So it's been, 4 to 5 months now at this point, and nothing's happened. You would think maybe with this update there'd be a slider. And I distinctly remember, like, when you started off, they said like what level of difficulty, and like the highest level difficulty has dreadnoughts constantly attacking, and the easiest difficulty doesn't. It's like I specifically chose easy just to experience the story. So I'm like, oh, I'm on easy. I don't have to worry about that. And now they're attacking, and I double checked. I'm like, no, I'm still on easy. What the heck is going on? Like, this shouldn't be attacking me on easy. I shouldn't be dealing with this. I cleared every planet like 100%. So to lose that progress, that would be like collecting all the stars in every level of Mario 64, getting all 120, and then suddenly, Bowser's kids go back, and you have to go do Tick Tock Clock all over again because they put all the stars back, Rainbow Ride all over again, or Big Boo's Haunt, and it's just like, wait, what do you mean? I just spent all that time working on those levels. I got to constantly go back. So you go back to Big Boo's Haunt, and by the time you refinish Big Boo's Haunt, Hazy Maze Cave is now screwed, and Cool Mountain at the same time, and it's like, whoa, hold on, I could never get a 120 again.
That's that's really annoying. Wow. Again, that definitely puts it in perspective for sure, because that's a great comparison, and that would be really, really annoying.
Well, you know,
Wow.
you play the game. You know how much there is to do on a planet. There's
Yeah.
the towers. There's liberating all the bases. There's building up the bases themselves, which can be attacked and destroyed. There's taking out all the imp camps. There's a lot to do on each planet, and it's just poorly designed. Unless you wanted that super hardcore experience, which I didn't. I just wanted to play the game and enjoy it.
Right, right. I mean, it would be like, yeah, it'd be one thing if that's, the main game you play all the time, and it's like this constant and evolving thing that's always there, and that's great. That's definitely one thing. But for those of us that are those like you that have beat the main game, you just want to enjoy this extra content. Yeah, why not allow a person just to boot it up and enjoy it, and not have to worry about all that? And it becomes, I'm guessing, just more work than enjoying a game at that point.
And that's exactly, it's a chore. Like I did the first one, I'm like, all right, well maybe there was something I missed or whatever, like getting back into the swing of things. But as I was leaving the planet to go to the Crimson Moon, and I saw there was another one coming in 3 minutes, I literally threw up my hands and said, "Are you effing kidding me?" Because I just spent 45 minutes cleaning up the mess of one of these. Like, I just want to experience this content. Like, that's it. Like, come on, give me at least an hour in between. Like that's ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah.
And like I said, within one race of 3 laps, I had 2 walkers go to 2 different planets. So I'm like, great. It took 45 minutes to clear one planet. It's going to take another hour or so to clear a second one because they're going to get farther in progress.
Yeah.
And who knows how many dreadnoughts are going to appear at that point.
And on top of that, you didn't even have fun, doing the race.
Yeah, they didn't even have fun doing the race.
It wasn't even worth it. It's funny. Oh man. Hey Greg, how's it going?
Hey Greg.
Hey, finally to be part of the podcast now. I have no idea what you guys were talking about, but
we're talking about
Starlink.
the new Starlink updates. So main game is great, but the DLC is kind of a little wonky. But Barry's experienced this, and I haven't tried it yet. So he was just basically warning me and everybody else as well. So let's get into this Smash Brothers Ultimate updates, because I know Greg, you played around with this and kind of maybe scratches a little bit of your Super Mario Maker itch a little bit, maybe making some stages. So back right after our last podcast, as per usual, we tend to predict these sort of things, and there was a little update that we had talked about and we thought was going to happen, and it did. And so on April 17th, we got version 3.0 of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it brought us the new fighter. So Joker is officially there as DLC character. Got new music and stage and all that stuff with all the Joker stuff. And we also got this stage builder that we thought was going to happen from that commercial. It kind of leaked out there. We talked all about that last podcast and speculated about that. But stage builder is officially in the game now. And there's also this video editor mode that I think many of us didn't really see coming, but you can now edit together videos that you've recorded within Smash Brothers and put together like subtitles and sound effects and all the stuff, and kind of publish your own thing. So it's actually a cool video editor. Like it's based on like your computer style of video editing. So it's actually, I was impressed by how much is there. And I was like, well, this would be cool if it was actually built in the entire Switch, not just this game. But that was kind of something that came out of nowhere. Also, you'd be able to play or access Smash World now. And so Smash World it's an online mode for players to access video creations that people have created in the video editor. Also Mii fighters and the stages you've been able to create in the stage builder and all that stuff. And there's also Mii costumes that you can buy and a bunch of new updates. So Greg, let's go to you first and let's talk about this update since you haven't had a chance to talk just yet, since you're just joining us. Have you experienced the update? Have you played around with the new modes? And what do you think so far?
Not quite so much the new modes, but I was playing around with actual Joker character. I just did a couple battles just to kind of get a feel for him, to see if I kind of like his play style or whatever. Her play style, actually, I think. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan because I don't really play with that kind of like a defensive style because it seems like she doesn't really hit quite very hard. So I'm used to like the more like the characters that can at least pack some punches and not just do like minimal amounts of damage, and you have to like really do lots of combos and stuff to really get them up higher in percentage wise, at least quicker than normal. But maybe I selected the girl version because I thought it was like a female voice, but I don't know. Barry's trying to yell at me in the chat saying like, "No, it's a boy," but I couldn't tell. I apologize. I don't know too much about Joker. Never played Persona. Been interested to try the series, but haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet. But yeah, it wasn't.
Was that pun intended?
Sure.
Okay.
Probably not, but you know what? You never know with these things. Yeah, so I played a few matches with the character on the stage too. The stage is pretty interesting because there's like a little thing, like a ceiling thing that comes down, and it kind of makes like you can really make some like bounce combos in between like the ceiling and the floor, kind of similar to like the lower parts of like Hyrule Temple Castle, and also some like the that giant Kirby stage. It's kind of like where you can create
The Great Cave Offensive.
Yeah, the Great Cave Offensive is, yeah. It kind of remind me a lot of that, like when the ceiling is down. So it's not down the entire time, but it comes down at points during the match. So
Cool. Well, yeah, I played around with Joker. I still need to really play more with him and get a good hang of it. I'm more right as soon as the update came through. I booted it up and I was playing with the Joy-Cons, which I'm not used to playing. I needed to get my GameCube controller out and everything, but I just wanted to get a quick experience of what it was like to play as him. And he's really powerful. I don't know if I'd call him OP yet. I need to be able to see like how he is against some different players and stuff like that. But there's a lot of different kind of moves there, and it is a little more defensive, and it's more like, you know, you have the counter attacks and everything that too. He's an interesting character for sure. Barry, have you got much time to play with Joker?
Yeah, I wound up leveling or did Joker's classic mode, as I usually do with any new characters. So I went through all of classic, and that's how I played with him. Like I went right in. And I also did the new spirits because I had all the spirits already. There's the new spirit DLC spirit board. So I beat all of those, and some of those are actually quite a challenge, especially that final one. And I thought it was really interesting. And then I decided to check out Stage Builder. I did not build a stage, but I decided to check out other people's stages. And that was a mistake. Now I know that like I had seen articles about this beforehand, and I was like, "Oh, okay," but I didn't see any of those stages. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. They must have been deleting those." But then I saw other stages, like one called 9/11 that had airplanes going into the Twin Towers on fire, and I was like, "Are you serious? Like, really, people?" And then I saw another one copying that one. I'm like, "What is wrong with people? Like." My God. So, yeah, that was a mistake. And I promptly turned it off at that point, and I haven't played it again.
Yeah.
Have you found the one that probably has like spoilers for Avengers?
Sure, it's probably in there. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so I knew of the some of the obscene stuff and everything in there, but I had not heard about stuff like that, and that's really unfortunate. Yeah, I haven't spent much time in Smash World to actually see all that's there. I did play around with the stage builder, and I realized like overall it's good. It's cool that there's a lot more. There's a lot more to it than the past versions of stage builder. You can actually playing with the layers and everything is really cool. To be able to add all that stuff in there and be able to add your own or to be able to draw your own stuff in there, which has lent itself to bad stuff, but there's also good sides of that, to be able to draw exactly what you want in terms of your platforms and all that stuff, and additional features and stuff you can add in. But what I thought was weird, it was that the touchscreen still doesn't work in the entire game. It's only in Stage Builder, and it's still not like fully featured. So you can't do everything with just the touchscreen. So you still need to use the controller or your Joy-Cons to like move around with certain aspects of the Stage Builder. So I found it was very jarring to be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm drawing everything. And then, oh, now I got to pick up the controller, do this. Okay. And then go back to drawing and everything. So it wasn't a fluid experience. And I think it would have been a lot better if they really allowed you to like use everything in the Stage Builder with just the touchscreen. And using it with just the controllers is if you want to try to draw anything or stuff like that, it's not the greatest experience. It's a whole lot easier to use the touchscreen itself. Greg, did you get a chance to play around with Stage Builder at all?
No, I had wanted to, but I ran out of time. I was like, hey, and I tried out Joker. Maybe I should try out Piranha Plant finally. And and then it's like, oh, you unlocked Luigi, and I'm like, what? I didn't have Luigi yet. What's going on?
That's great.
Wow. Poor Luigi.
So sad.
He's joined the battle on my game now, so I can play as Luigi. So
nice. So have you looked around at Smash World yet? Have you like been able to see all the not so good stages yet or anything?
No, I've only read the horrific articles depicting some of the stuff that's been taken down.
Yeah. I don't know how can they recover from this, because I think it's great. It's a great thing to be able to share our own creations. I think there are going to be some great stages out there, just like in Mario Maker, that I will want to play other people's stages. But how do they recover from this and make sure that that stuff stops happening and doesn't happen again?
I don't know if there's any way to do it. I think people like to push the envelope and try to get as close as you can. I mean, people still can make inappropriate stuff in Mario Maker. I think they have that reporting mechanism in place and stuff, so it might have been a little bit easier. I don't know if they have that on the Stage Builder. If they don't, they really should have that. But then you also can get false reports if people are thinking you're copying their stage and all that other kind of jargon. So I know people didn't really like Sakurai's decision before, like on like banning people and stuff, but maybe it might have to come around to something like that if people are going to have to make false reports or make inappropriate levels, to share.
Yeah. What do you think, Barry?
It's touchy. Anytime you open up anything to the internet, you have to expect penises to fly out at you. I think it's like an unwritten rule at this point. I hope that it's a phase and then it disappears and people start to get more serious, or those that are just interested in enjoying, male anatomy or terrorist attacks decide, all right, bored now, and they move on. I don't think it's necessarily a mistake because it's actually really good and it really fluently works. Like you could just downloaded a couple of people's like me characters and stuff just instantly, touch of a button. It went really, really nicely. So ironically, one of the few things Nintendo does that runs properly, involving the internet. But there just needs to be some kind of filter. Like they need to hire somebody to just do nothing but like refresh constantly and just nope, and just try to take them out as it happens until people start realizing, hey, you know what? This stage is not getting out. Every time I try to make it, it's not improving. So I don't know. I think it's a great idea. I'd like to see more things added to it. Kind of like how, they added more to Mario Maker. I'd love to see more things added to it to make more robust stages. I think that will help the longevity of the game because it's literally infinite stages at that point. But yeah, I guess we'll see. But it's a great start. I hope that they do other things like break the targets and board the platforms and all those before they say, guess what? Now you can use this little pinball thing and the Stage Builder. Aren't you glad you waited 6 months for this? You're welcome.
Right. Yeah. And it's been cool to see, like, there really are some great stages out there that people have made, and like recreating some of the ones that from N64, I think, that didn't make it into Ultimate, and people have been able to recreate them. And that's awesome to be able to see. Unfortunately, you have to look through a bunch of other crap to sometimes get to that. Is it worth, I mean, I wonder, I think it would slow down the whole process, but even be able to submit them and then having a board that says, okay, these are approved and these are not approved, and actually is going to take some time before your creations show up on Smash World. I mean, that would really slow down the whole process, but it would definitely put an end to all that junk. I don't know, would they go to something like that, do you think, or is this just one of those things like the 3DS thing where you sent notes back and forth to each other, swap note, and then they just killed it because people were doing obscene things on there?
I don't know. I think they got sick of even like moderating Miiverse at a point. So I think that they're trying to not be so like tight-handed on this moderation stuff. So unfortunately, I mean, that is a very viable solution, but then again, you'll get like all the complaints like, hey, why can't I want my friend to play my level? And I don't know.
Well, you can share levels locally, I believe. Like, so if your friend does have a phallic stage, they could bring their Switch over and say, download my level, and now we could all play on it. So that is at least an option. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least now they have some maybe a little bit of money to put behind hiring some people to moderate these things instead of just giving it for free. I mean, we are paying a little bit of money for this online service. Get some moderators on there who can actually take care of this instead of, the ones that didn't want to do that for Miiverse and everything else. I don't know, but I hope that this is not one of those cases of the few inappropriate, bad, Apple's messing up for the rest of us. Because I think this is a great thing, because there really are some great stuff out there, some great content that people have been making. But I hope we get to keep enjoying that, and all the rest of the stuff. I mean, if you're out there, just like stop doing that. You're messing it up for the rest of us. So.
Some people just enjoy doing that. They like to watch the world burn.
Yeah. I mean, they can make it, just don't upload it. You can have all the fun you want on your own Switch with your friends locally. Just, you don't need to share those with the world, because the world doesn't really want to see those.
Yeah. So the only other big update with this was the video editor. Have you guys played around with the video editor at all?
No, sadly not. I totally forgot that they had added that. I thought it was just mostly like the stage builder and like the Joker, and that was about it. So
nope, I did not.
Yeah. I watched a few videos. I haven't actually fully made a video yet, but I played around with what you can do, and then I watched a few videos, and it's cool to be able to clip together little sections of maybe a cutscene and then your actual fight and all this stuff, and be able to kind of tell this little narrative or highlight a particular moment where you really had a cool few hits or something like that, a cool combo, and put all this stuff together, kind of a highlight reel and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, and you can be able to share it out with others. So yeah, I'm more excited to see what other people are creating. That's typically my style. I don't create a lot of content and these sort of things, but I love to see what other people have made. And which takes me to our news discussion. So those are all the updates. There's a couple news discussions, and one of those actually is about Super Mario Maker 2, and we actually have a release date. So there's not a whole lot to really talk about. There's been some new updates and screenshots and things like that we've caught through over the last couple of weeks. But you can look forward to getting Super Mario Maker 2 on June 28th. So just a couple months away. And Greg, are you counting down the days?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's pretty much 2 months from yesterday. So
pretty exciting.
Getting pretty.
Yeah.
Yep, it's definitely can't come soon enough, and I hope I get a review copy like I did for the Wii U. So that'd be fantastic to be able to make some pre-stages and play along with Andre and stuff, and see his early stages and whatnot. So I think that would be really cool.
Cool. So have you been following some of the stuff that has been kind of leaking along the way, and then the screenshots and stuff like that?
Yeah, I saw some like the adverts that were in like posted in Japan, and I think there was another source I think that also had posted something. I think it was like the teaser trailer the for the date. So I think it's really cool to have like colored pipes, and you don't need to have like the bonsai bill come out of an actual launcher. Like that stuff is all welcome additions and definitely makes some more interesting levels. So
Yeah, for sure. Barry, anything about Super Mario Maker 2 that you're particularly excited about?
I'm actually upset.
Ooh.
Yeah,
No.
I'm mad that Nintendo chose that date and didn't release it sooner. That is Shadowbringers released or early access date. So I will not be touching Super Mario Maker 2. I will have it, but I will probably not touch it until maybe August to September if I'm lucky. If it came out a week earlier, I would be able to get a lot of time on that game. But because they chose that date, I am not able to touch it. So I am angry that they had to choose that date and not anytime earlier in June. But yeah, so I'm not even looking at anything. I don't want to get excited about it because I know I'm not going to be able to give it any time for a while. So, I'll
For
just have to live
shame.
through vicariously through Greg.
For shame. Your homework assignment is to buy it day one and start making some levels.
Sorry.
Big Streak's just calling you out. No time for even Super Mario Maker.
Yeah,
Man.
no time. I have over 100 people in my company that are depending on me for that date. So no, I have no time.
Oh, that's sad. Well, we'll have to enjoy it without you, I guess. But the cool thing is, yeah, with a game like that, there's still going to be plenty of content for you to play when you finally do have some time for it. All right. So not only like that, what that tells me is I expect to see a lot more Super Mario 2 or Super Mario Maker 2 content at E3. Because it's coming right after. Probably there's going to be some different, last minute additions and announcements right there at E3.
Surprise launch that day. Let's go. I'll be happy.
A demo that day, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll announce that you can be able to play all the Super Mario Maker 1 stages. I don't know. And they'll somehow tie it all in. Probably not, but who knows. But one thing we do know that is not going to be taking place at E3 is Nintendo has said there's not going to be any new hardware at E3 this year. So what do you guys think about that? Because we speculated, we've talked about it the last podcast that Wall Street Journal says all this stuff is going to happen and it's going to happen this year, but no new hardware. Like, would they announce this later, you think? Or you think it's this no Switch hardware at all? Like, is that just a big rumor? And I don't know, not going to happen. What do you think, Greg?
I don't know. If memory serves me correctly, I believe like the 3DS XL came out in August, and I think was it maybe even the 2DS or something like that. But I thought it was like a later summer pick. So they usually don't bring console revisions to E3 to begin with, so it doesn't really surprise me at all for that. And August would still be a good time to be like, hey, here's like the Switch Mini or Switch Pro or whatever, and then they can ride that all the way through like the holiday season. So if they are coming, I think they could. Sure enough, they usually just like do a press release like, oh, by the way, here's the whatever Switch Mini. It'll be coming out in like 2 weeks or something like that. It's usually very short notice and very almost like last minute sounding, even though there's a lot of planning and stuff that goes into it. But it'll be like one of those things like, oh, here's what we're calling it. Here's when it's available. Here's the price, and it just kind of comes out somewhat silently. So.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially because what we think is it's going to be just a revision. It's not going to be a brand new system per se, and so maybe even announcing it that early could cannibalize holiday sales and all that stuff, and throughout the rest of the year. What do you think, Barry? Do you agree?
There was a rumor about the Switch Pro getting delayed due to parts, and like when I read that, I was actually happy because we expected like the PS5 to be next year, and it's actually looking more and more like it might be 2021. And I think the longer we can put that off, the more powerful it's going to be. which means it'll be able to compete a little more. So I think that's a smart move. As for the Switch Mini, they got to be careful. You don't want to cannibalize your holiday sales, and you don't want to release it early enough that people will hold off. Like if you release it August or September, you're going to get the diehards that will get it right away. But a lot of people will say, "Oh, I can get it now, or I could save my money and ask for it for Christmas," and then that's probably what's going to happen. So, like a lot of the 3DS stuff, like the revisions were early. They were March. I mean, the system launched in March. I think the new 3DS XL was in March. I think the new 2DS XL was summer. But it just, and again, they said no new hardware. They might not count this as new. They might just count this as a revision. I don't remember 100%, but the GBA SP or the GB Micro might have been at E3. At least at one point. In fact, I think the GB Micro was shown off on the stage floor with Reggie.
Yeah, I think so.
So, and that was a hardware revision. So
I remember him coming out and like holding it or whatever.
Yeah, he took it out of his shirt jacket pocket, just showing how small it was. So they have done hardware revisions before at E3. It's just whether they count it as new hardware or not. And that's the it's all PR buzzwords, and that's what you have to play. You have to play the buzzword game. You have to see what they really mean, and who knows? Nothing could come of it, and we're not going to get a mini until next year or a pro until next year. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I don't want to speculate because we've already done that in predictions, and we've done that before in podcast since our predictions. So I think at this point it's not worth even giving any more time to until it comes out, or it doesn't come out. We could say, remember when we wasted time on that?
Yeah. And like Jakester said, it could be a secret lie, but like you said, like maybe it's like it's like in Star Wars, in a matter of what is it, a matter of perspective or a matter of speaking. I was telling the truth.
Yes.
So yeah. So well, one thing we do know, at least it seems like this is the goodbye. This is the goodbye part of our podcast title today, because it seems like we finally may have reached the end of the Nintendo 3DS's life. Not that it's actual life, because your 3DS is probably going to last a lot longer than 2019. But it seems like Nintendo stopped supporting it. They don't have any new software planned for it. Barry, can you tell us any more about this new development about 3DS?
I mean, they've stated that there's no new first-party games coming to the 3DS, at least at this point, and that most likely means not at all. That again could be PR buzzword, because we have had several ports. Luigi's Mansion, we've had the Kirby Epic Yarn, so Mario and Luigi. So it very well could be another port. And that's not, again, they may not consider that a new game, but they stated that 3DS sales fell more drastically than they anticipated and where they projected. And I think they realized that the 3DS, people aren't buying a 3DS, they're going for the Switch at this point, and they're putting more of their resources to the Switch. As of now, I think, and I could be wrong, but as of the recording of this, I think there's only one more physical title confirmed, which is Persona Q2. And even that is a hasty port. What I mean by that is there's no English audio. It's English text with the Japanese audio. They just translated it and they're launching it. And I think that's it. There might be one or two others that I'm not aware of, or they just haven't been announced yet. And I do think Nintendo will continue to sell 3DS till the Christmas. So I do think they're going to be putting out, here's the 3DS at Christmas, trying to get rid of their stock, lower price. We might even see new Nintendo Select titles, which again, that's a new first party that's just re-releases. We might see like new Nintendo Select titles at the holiday, just as one last hurrah. But it seems like this is it. The writing's on the wall. You know, people expected the 3DS to die when the Switch came out, and it made it 2 years, which is damn good. And it did get supported, although if you look at the support of 2017 and the support of 2018, you'll notice that there really hasn't been a lot of support. There's been, 10 or so games physically that came out in both of those years, a lot of them from Nintendo or from Atlas. And even this year has had four physical titles. It's had 2 from Nintendo with Mario and Luigi and Kirby, and 2 from Atlas with Etri and Odyssey X, and now Persona Q2. So it seems like this is it. Well, no, it's not. Yokai Watch 3, I think, came out this year, so that's 5. Yeah. The only other title I can see them doing is that Yokai Watch Blasters 2, which is already out in Japan, and I could just see them trying to like push that because Yokai Watch 4 got delayed. So I can see them doing that. So yeah. And Jakester makes a good point. Pokemon Sword and Shield is definitely, is gonna put the nail in the coffin. So it's already there, but it's gonna really hammer it in. But yeah, as far as I can foreseeably see, this is the end of the 3DS.
Yeah. Greg, I mean, you've been doing the Nintendo download, post every week. I mean, how many 3DS games have we even gotten in the download versions this year? I mean, it's been like maybe 10 all year.
Yeah, it's something pretty low like that. I mean, the funny part was even like last week there was one 3DS game, so it's like, hey, there's still there's one game in the eShop, but
yeah,
it's been mostly gone like this year. I think it still has a few more titles than the Wii U has gotten, and the Wii U has been kind of like long gone. So
yeah, every once in a while, it's funny to even see like it's kind of like we were kind of stuck around for a little bit, and now we're seeing the Wii U games. Every once in a while, we'll get a new Wii U game. Like, these poor developers. I mean, I'm glad you have a game that made it to the Wii U eShop, but no one's gonna buy it. Like, it's like, well, okay, add it to your resume or whatever. You made a Wii U game, but I'm sorry, you're not gonna make any money on this. And but at least there's a lot of 3DSs out there, so hopefully people are still buying those games. But yeah, it seems like Barry said, the writing's on the wall. It's not dead yet, but it's not dead yet. But it's definitely getting there. Greg, do you think that's okay? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it had a nice, long, and awesome life. I mean, it has a very great library full of games. I mean, you can easily still get a console this Christmas, and you can still plenty of games to play for years down the road. So there's so many great RPG games. There's tons of awesome first-party games you can get. It's still got a very, very solid, excellent library from both first and third-party games. So I would definitely recommend it for anyone that missed out on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think the one of the best systems out there right now is the new 2DS XL. It's a solid system. It's incredibly light. It's got great battery life compared to the Switch, and can play all the games out there. It's got the extra C nub on there. It's got the extra buttons and stuff, and it's fairly inexpensive compared to that. It's still great for younger kids that maybe you don't want to entrust a Switch to. I think that's the cool thing is with, like you said, Greg, it's got a vast library that's going to sustain it for years to come, even though it's not going to be like officially supported anymore with first party software and stuff like that. I think it's got a continued life even after its death, if you will, similar to the Game Boys before that.
Well, don't forget as well that the 2DS or the 3DS are also backwards compatible with the DS, and the DS has one of the largest libraries ever in existence. So between the two libraries, you get a new 2DS XL. And especially if you haven't played any game from either of those libraries, you have a ridiculous amount of titles that you can play physically as well as digitally. You'll never be bored.
That's a really good point. I totally forgot that it plays DS games. But yeah, and there's some great games out there for DS, and a lot of other stuff that you can try out, and some stuff is not that great, but it's got this huge, gigantic library with the DS and the 3DS combined. That's awesome. So, all right. Well,
and a lot of the 3DS eShop games are also pretty much worth picking up too. So there's quite a good number of those. At least some of the earlier ones. I know more recently, not so much, but yeah, there's definitely plenty of those games out there as well.
Totally. Yeah. In fact, if you're watching this later on, even right now in the chat, be able to throw some of your favorite games for 3DS down there in the chat and in our comments, and that way other people that maybe they're new to gaming and maybe Switch was their first system. That could definitely be the case, and they haven't actually experienced the 3DS stuff or the DS games. Throw your favorite games in there and as recommendations for others. Like you said, I mean, there's so many. But
that's a good idea for next podcast. Maybe we could do like our top few 3DS games or something.
Yeah, recommend it. Even though it's going out, there's still some great games to play. And yeah, maybe we'll actually do a roundup of some of our favorite DS and 3DS games next time. Sure. All right. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of our podcast today. So before we wrap up, we do want to talk about what we're looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks until our next podcast, which is on let's see, May 13th, I believe. May 13th is the next podcast, if I'm counting my days correctly, the day after Mother's Day. So you can bring your mom along with the NintendoFuse Select. That'd be awesome. We can get our own name on there. But bring your mom along for the podcast next time, and she can tune in to celebrate Mother's Day with us all on May 13th is our next episode. But until then, Greg, what are you looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks? Any games that are standing out that's going to be on your Switch or maybe your 3DS?
Well, it's probably going to be diving more into Smash Brothers. I really want to take a look at like the stage builder and stuff like that I mentioned that I didn't really get a lot of time with earlier. And it's still wanting to push forward with Yoshi. I've had very little time with the Switch over the last 2 weeks, and I really hope to have that ramp up more. I do anticipate picking up Mortal Kombat, I think, as well. So I don't know. I just got way too much on my plate that I would love to play and get done. So.
Mm-hmm. Sounded like you're also not too much time, not enough time thing. Yeah. Barry, anything else you're gonna be playing other than Final Fantasy?
I do plan to boot up Mortal Kombat 11. I do want to play through that. It's one of those fighting games I actually play for the story. I really enjoy the story, and I enjoyed the story to 9 and 10, how they kind of retconned things. So this seems to be like bringing things to a head. I've been really wanting to sit down with Dragon Mark for Death, and I almost picked it up when I was like, no, I'm going to do Reverie instead, and I made a good choice. That was a quick game and a lot of fun, and I'm glad I did. But now it's like, I don't know. It all depends. It all depends on time. I don't think I'm going to touch Smash until the next Challenger Pack or the next update. Although I think there's a Spirit Board event going on, so I might do that. I'm not sure when that's supposed to happen with the new spirits. It might even be already happening. I just haven't checked.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm spending some time with with Smash as well. Kind of checking out and try to weed through all the bad stuff and see if I can find some other good stages to play. And I'll try my hand a little more at the stage builder and see what I can create there as well. I'm also I like you guys talked about Mortal Kombat. It's already come out. I'm hoping to eventually pick up Cuphead. I know I was excited. Talked about it last podcast. I was excited that it's finally come to the Switch, and I'm still debating when do I get it, I guess, is trying to find the right time. And so I'm eventually going to get it, but it hasn't been yet. And it's one of those things. I mean, it's a local, a single or a 2-player game. So it's one of those things that I can always get. It's not like I'm missing out playing online or anything like that. And I also know that the next DLC, I think, levels or version of Shovel Knight, the King of Cards, I think is supposed to come out this month, or did it already come out? I think originally they were shooting for April. I don't know if it's come out yet.
I think they delayed it because it's coming the same time as the physical, and the physical got delayed.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm looking forward to it whenever it does eventually happen. But I knew, originally it was supposed to be April, but and then I'm just looking forward to spending more time again. Rocket League and Smash Brothers will be a lot of what I play, and trying to do some catching up. Playing some more Hob and kind of developing my review around that and everything too. So, all right, let's see what people are playing. Looks like Jared's excited about playing with Labo VR, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and Dream for PS4. Cool. So,
Jakester also said his best 3DS games at the top.
Ooh, what's he recommending there? Xenoblade 3D, cool, and makes Barry happy. New Leaf and Dark Moon. Those are great ones for sure. So yeah, I'm interested to see what games we come up with. We've had some big titles on our best of the end of the year top games over the years, and we covered 3DS quite a bit, so it'd be interesting. And what kind of rises to the top over the overall best 3D game or 3DS games and DS games. So, all right. Well, guys, it's been great to talk with you as usual. And just a reminder, if you have not followed us on social media, be sure to follow us. If you've not joined our brand new Discord, you can also find the link in the description here on YouTube, but you can find it all on our social media. Just look us up and you can find that link as well. We'd love to have you join there and join our community to just talk about the games you're playing, all the news and everything between podcasts. That'd be great. If you are new to us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted every time we post a new video and every time we go live. And that'd be great. So just have you, like I said, jump in the conversation and join in our community here. One more call out. We talked about this last podcast that we are looking to add some additional people to our team. So if you're interested in writing about video games or editing video, or if you're a good graphic editor, stuff like that, we would love to have you apply. You can find an application to apply on our Facebook page, and that'd be great to have you join our NintendoFuse team. If you do like what you're hearing, be sure to leave a review on your favorite podcast app of choice and subscribe and share it out there with everybody else. But until next time, May 13th, we'll be back again with another live podcast. But until then, happy gaming and have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.